Oh, we live? Sorry, y'all. Before y'all hit me, I'm just reacting to a video. I know how y'all get. Anyways, let's get right to it.
Which is why I want you, Captain America, to help me rebuild the Avengers.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Captain America Brave New World is out in theaters this week. I had a chance to see it. This will be my review. I know there's a ton of questions about Anthony Mackie's Captain America and whether or not he just works in general in the larger MCU and the Avengers movies compared to Chris Evans' Captain America. He was one of the foundational pillars of the Avengers and the MCU movies just in general. Like if Captain America and Iron Man had not worked, the MCU would not be a thing. Like the movies just in general would not have worked. Kevin Feige called them, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr.'s Captain America and Iron Man, the heart and soul of the Avengers, and this movie, Captain America Brave New World, had a lot it needed to accomplish in trying to sell Sam Wilson's Captain America as a worthy successor to Steve Rogers, and worthy enough to make as many puns as possible to lead a new Avengers team eventually, heading into Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, because Marvel will not stop talking about how he's supposed to be at the center of these next Avengers movies. With everything they threw into this movie, there is a lot to talk about. I will do a separate video for the post-credit scene and a full breakdown of the entire movie with all the Easter eggs and references later this week after it does come out everywhere in theaters around the world, so be sure to subscribe to get everything and do try to see the movie as soon as possible because I think a lot of people are going to walk out of this movie being more excited about the stuff it sets up as opposed to the actual movie itself. But we will start by addressing the biggest thing about the movie. Let's talk about the Hulk in the room here. I felt like this movie was more of a sequel to Incredible Hulk than it was a self-contained Captain America solo movie. Like they married a Hulk movie with a Captain America movie. You could really tell that Marvel and Kevin Feige wanted to make a Hulk solo movie, but a couple of years ago when they started developing this movie, they still had the legal problems with Universal. Apparently, they weren't able to do a Hulk solo movie at the time. So they did their Hulk sequel movie, but they just called it a Captain America movie. Most of the major plot lines, big twists on characters are things that they either introduced in the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie or things they teased during that, like Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross, the leader character as the main villain of the movie. Liv Tyler's Betty Ross from that movie is also back in this film. So if you like the Incredible Hulk movie, you like those characters, this does deliver on some of the payoffs that original Incredible Hulk movie set up. Marvel definitely leaned into Red Hulk to sell this movie to audiences in the marketing, but it's not totally wrong of them to sell the movie as Incredible Hulk too. They just can't call it that legally. Please, Universal, don't sue us. There has been a lot of negative press about the actual making of the movie itself, like the supposed reshoots, the budget being out of control. Marvel on their side of things stated that a lot of those rumors were incorrect, being misreported. The actual budget was closer to other regular non-Avengers level movies like under $200 million, whether or not you choose to believe that, just because the way they report on movie budgets is all over the map. The way that Hollywood accounting works, they can generally make the numbers look like whatever they want them to look like. But after actually seeing the movie, I will say that the reshoots, the extra work that they did to polish the movie 4 times apparently, probably did help a lot. Like it sounded like the movie had a lot of problems early on, but overall, like the final version of the movie in theaters just wound up being okay. Like the nicest thing I can say about it is that it was enjoyable, but it was aggressively fine. Like not great, but not bad either. But here's where we compare it to other Captain America movies, other Marvel movies in general. The movie really wanted to be another Captain America Winter Soldier. They kept selling it as Winter Soldier vibes, like a paranoid thriller in the tone of Winter Soldier. But the movie never quite got to that level. Like it just never actually gets to Winter Soldier levels of quality. I think a lot of that had to do with the story and the characters that Marvel had going into this. Like this whole phase of Marvel is just characterized by them just using the shotgun method of shooting a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Probably the strongest thing this movie has going for it is the action. The action is great. Like it's an okay, like a decent film, but a great action movie. I believe a lot of the reshoots they did were actually focused mostly around the action scenes. Generally, the movie is way more grounded, though, than something like Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, Marvel is trying to get back to doing more ground-level movies because we're in the middle of this multiverse phase. There's a lot of fatigue with that. People are wanting to move on to other types of stories. So if you're one of those people that have been complaining about all the multiverse stuff that's been going on the last several years, this movie is one of the answers to that, at least in terms of tone and vibe. It does invoke Tiamat, the dead celestial from the End of the Eternals movie. They do introduce adamantium in the MCU for the first time, and there's a lot of long-running teases from the Incredible Hulk movie that they pay off with the leader's Hulk serum, like just generally Hulk-related storylines. Some teasers for larger new Avengers stuff in the background coming up into Avengers Doomsday, so there are some larger things going on in the background that tie to the multiverse saga, but the movie still managed to stay what I would call a more ground-level thriller. Ranking it amongst the other Captain America movies so far, like I said, Winter Soldier is still my favorite Captain America movie. But I would rank this movie somewhere around or just below the first Captain America movie and definitely below Captain America Civil War. You can decide which movie you like better, the original First Avenger movie or Civil War. Personally, the first Captain America movie does have a soft spot in my heart for them doing the period piece set in the 1940s. They're kind of using that vibe for the new Fantastic Four movie, so if you like that retro feel in the Marvel movies, we will get that again later this year. But again, this movie just never quite gets to the level of the Steve Rogers Captain America movies, even though I do think there's a disparity in quality amongst the Steve Rogers Captain America films. Like, not all the films are created equal. No coincidence, though, that my favorite Captain America movie was directed by the Russos, and the writers of that movie also wrote both Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, all the other previous Captain America movies, and that whole team is coming back now to direct and write Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars back-to-back. So this will also get into the Anthony Mackie Captain America of it all too, because he's meant to be a really important character going forward in Marvel, so this movie had a lot of work to do, like a lot of legwork to get him to that level. When it came to him in the movie, he's a great actor, like he did a great job with the material they gave him in this film, but he just does not have the aura of Steve Rogers' Captain America. Like, he does not have aura in the way I think he needs to have it if he wants to lead a new Avengers team. This movie did nothing to change my mind about him not really being believable as the dude who's the right person to lead that new Avengers team. If you're looking at a legit new Avengers team, like who's the most badass people we could put on this new Avengers in the MCU during Doomsday, he'd be like the third guy to the right or the left in the lineup at best. Maybe with the Russos taking over the character heading into Avengers Doomsday, they can get his character to the level Marvel wants him to be at, because the Russos were hyping up Anthony Mackie a lot. But right now, I just do not see it happening. Like, we will see what they turn out with Avengers Doomsday. Generally, I am a fan of his, love his performances in the Marvel movies as his Falcon and now his new Captain America character, but as of right now, like I said, he's just not the guy for the new Avengers.
Why can't you stay organized? I've experienced...
That's messed up to say. But anyways,